If you're running an agency in 2026 and you want to acquire clients, you need to do things pretty differently. The game has fundamentally changed, and what has worked previously is no longer working in 2026, especially with cold outreach. Now, you'll know this if you're trying to sign your first, say, 10 clients, that it's not easy, right? And especially if you're reaching out to people, you're probably getting ignored constantly. People are telling you to get lost. People are telling you to unsubscribe. And it's not easy. It takes a toll on you. It's very difficult. But there's a shift which you can make in your outreach that will make it substantially easier for you to sign clients for any agency service, right? And this is a concept I'm sure you've probably heard of before if you're watching this video. And it's all around proximity to revenue. That's the concept, right? Proximity to revenue. It is easier to sell services with a closer proximity to revenue, especially if you're selling to business owners, right? If you've got to think about a business owner, what is the point of a business? A business owner, whether people like it or not, runs a business to make as much profit as possible, okay? And you need to make sure that your services are aligned with the incentives of the business owner, okay? So if you do, for example, if you run an AI agency and you do back-end process automation and you help people automate, the invoicing process and you automate manual data entry and that sort of thing, it can be really hard to sell these sorts of services through cold outreach specifically, okay? And there's a bunch of other services, recruitment, HR, any type of consulting. It can be very difficult to sell these types of services through cold outreach due to the whole concept of proximity to revenue, right? So let's just take an example. I take some coaching calls in Lee Motley's community, teach people how to do outreach there. And you get a lot of, obviously, AI agencies. That's the whole point of it. And AI agencies will come to me and they'll say, I'm struggling to sign clients. I'm struggling to get my first couple of clients in the AI agency space. We do back-end process automation. We save people time. We automate their manual data entry process. And the outreach message that they're doing, reflects that. But the truth is the business owner honestly doesn't really care about that, especially in an outreach message. What a business owner will care about, and typically this is, for a smaller business, let's say under 50 employees in size, they just care about effectively making more money or making more profit. So the main ways that you're going to be able to create a message that actually resonates with the business owner and actually aligns with their incentives is an offer that's going to be able to make them more money or save them money, right? And you need to be able to tangibly, specifically prove how you can do this for them in your outreach message, okay? So most businesses, especially agencies I speak to, they just want to sign their first 5 clients, 10 clients. They don't actually really care about what they're selling on the back end. I mean, unless obviously you're a developer and you have certain things you really want to sell, you don't care. You'll sell what clients are paying for. You'll sell what's going to generate you the money. Now, surprise, surprise, the thing that's going to generate you the money is the thing that generates the clients the money. And it's sales systems, marketing systems, and systems that have a closer proximity to revenue, meaning they're closer tied to revenue, right? So for example, in the AI space, it can be the likes of voice agents that can handle inquiries out of hours when the sales team or the admin team, the reception team, aren't in. Now, this is more attractive to a business owner because you can tangibly prove if you incorporate a system like this, you'll be able to directly make more sales and more money as a result of it. It's much, much harder to articulate that when you're doing back-end process automations and things like that. And it's exactly the same in other spaces. So I work a lot in the recruitment space, and it's much easier to place sales candidates than it is, for example, to place, let's just say an admin person, right? Because the salesperson, their credentials are usually much stronger. They've been able to either build sales teams or, create substantial amounts of revenue for companies and grow companies, which is obviously what a business owner is attracted to. All right, so if you're in a position where you want to be signing clients through cold outreach and you're struggling and it's difficult, this is likely because your offer or the service you're selling is not tied closely enough to revenue. Okay, it's not directly solving the pain point of most small businesses, which is they simply just want to make more sales and make more money. So you can make one small change in your framing and your positioning of what you're selling to make it much easier to sell to pretty much any business in the entire world. And it doesn't mean everyone has to become a lead generation agency. That's not what I'm saying. You shouldn't become a lead generation agency unless that's what you really want to do. It is a great business model to run. I think probably has the highest success rate in terms of people starting agencies because of the fact it's easier to sell, because of the concept of proximity to revenue, right? But what we're trying to say here is, let's say you run an AI agency or a recruitment agency or any other type of agency service where you're doing things for clients. If you're able to frame your offer closer to revenue, right? Whether it's for example, a recruitment business hiring or recruiting salespeople, whether it's an AI agency, it's more building sales systems. If you think of it like that, it's going to make it much, much easier to at least get your foot in the door. Okay, a foot in the door with a prospect. It means you can still sell your main service if you want to. And if you want to just place, for example, C-suite executives, COOs, chief operating officers as a recruitment agency, that's fine, you can. But sometimes you need to get your foot in the door with these companies with something that's closer to bringing revenue to the business, right? Because that's the thing as well. Nowadays, there's so many people selling services in the market. Like every market is pretty much saturated. There's loads of underserved markets, but the main markets that people think of, SaaS, marketing agencies, recruitment, insurance, there's so many people doing it, right? And the way to truly stand out is by how attractive your offer is to someone that's never heard of you before. Okay, this is all really to cold traffic with cold outreach, right? The way to get those people bought in, easier is to make your offer obviously more attractive. And how do we do that? We have a closer proximity to revenue. So if you're in a position where you're struggling to see success with cold outreach, you don't need to build the fanciest clay workflow in the world. You don't need to do that. You don't need to create a research agent that creates hyper-personalized cold emails with a great first line for every prospect. What you need to do, probably first of all, for 99% of people watching this, is re-engineer your service or your offer slightly to have a closer proximity to revenue, and tangibly prove that to the client that you'll be able to make them more money. If you can tangibly prove to a client you can make them more money with a part of your service, it's going to make it so much easier, like 10 times, 100 times more easier to sell that service and have the conversation in the first place. Now, like I say, this doesn't mean you need to turn into a lead generation agency, a sales agency. You can still sell what you want to on the back end. It's just that front end, it's going to make it so much easier to have these conversations with business owners in the first place. So the reason I obviously wanted to come on and say that is just because I've been coaching people for a while now, and I see this time and time again, and I see this with our agency, with our clients who are more open to changing their offers. The closer we can get to a revenue generating offer or more proximity to revenue, it increases the results substantially every single time. There's no question about it. So if you're struggling to sign clients, create offers like this that are closer tied to revenue. And if you're struggling to do that and you want help, you can obviously book a call with us in the link in the description below and speak with our team around how we can help you book 10 to 15 qualified sales meetings every single month on autopilot using our systems. Now, if that's not of interest to you, don't worry at all. Hopefully this video has still been useful, but I want you to just take away that concept of proximity to revenue. It's going to make it so much easier to sell your services when you frame it like this to a business owner. Hopefully that's helpful. I'll see you on the next one.